Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kenny bringing y'all my spoiler-filled review. We're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details about the latest addition to the Evil Dead franchise, one of my personal favorite horror franchises of all time, and I dare say one of the most consistent horror franchises of all time, and also, without a doubt, one of the best horror franchises of all time, all the above. So make sure, before we get all into it, you're clicking all the buttons below the video, showing that support for the channel, and we appreciate all the subscribers we already have thus far, and all the new ones that have been coming in lately. Make sure you click around at all the different playlists and all the different videos we got here on the channel, and jump on over and click the links below as well. We got the podcast feed, all of that good jazz, but enough of the plugs. Let's get into Evil Dead Rise right now. Let's go. Here we go. Let's dig into this thing. And first and foremost, just getting into my overall thoughts on this latest edition of the Evil Dead series. I really fucking like this movie, man. I would even go as far as to say I loved it, man. I've only seen it once now, seen it this past week on Thursday night, and man, this fucking movie is a blast. It's 90 minutes. It's nice, short, quick, and goes straight to the point, which I really do appreciate. And they do take at least a good first 15, I'd say 20 minutes to really do some character building, and not like a ton of character development, but get you a little bit of a sense of who the characters are, just a little bit, and where they're at in life at the present time. But they don't dig in too much deeper than that, which isn't necessarily a negative for me, because the Evil Dead franchise hasn't necessarily been known for deeply developing its characters, and that's not necessarily a slight or a negative or a downside to the series either, because to me, that's the strong suit of it. It's nice and simple and straight to the point and is effective, and it does what it needs to do. It scares you, it terrifies you, it sickens you, it makes you laugh. It does all the above. So that's what an Evil Dead movie is supposed to do. In this installment right here, no fucking different. And one thing I want to definitely shout out to from the rooftops and get it out of the way right here is the director slash the writer slash director of this thing, Lee Cronin, who has only done one feature film, I think, before this one, which was called The Hole in the Ground. I actually haven't checked that out quite yet, but I do plan on checking it out sooner rather than later, because after seeing Evil Dead Rise, man, god damn, this guy has a very really cool directing style that did have the Sam Raimi feels, as you would expect in an Evil Dead film, but it definitely had its own trademarks in the way he was shooting certain things, in certain different ways that he would approach shooting a scene, or how he lit the scenes with a cinematographer and all that good jazz. I just think Lee Cronin did a very great job at stepping into a big franchise and leaving some of his own stamp on it without getting too far into his own bag of tricks and forgetting about the essence of the franchise that he is stepping into and being a part of, but also shows reverence, but also isn't too subservient and too nostalgia heavy to all that stuff, and it's not too heavy on the callbacks. There's definitely plenty of them and plenty of Easter eggs sprinkled throughout the film, but it's definitely at a very good balance rate for me personally, to where there's some nice callbacks and some nice references and things that you can pick up as an Evil Dead fan, as a longtime Evil Dead fan for like 6, 7, 8 years now. I would say it's a long time, since I'm in my 20s, I guess. But yeah, so love that aspect of it as well. And when it comes to the gore, when it comes to the kills, when it comes to all that good jazz, they definitely do a great job. And we're just going to slide right into these positives right here. And that's the first thing that I'm going to start out with, because that's exactly what you expect from an Evil Dead film, is the gore, right? Well, they definitely deliver on this one, man. It's insane. There's like a freaking Shining scene straight up in this thing, where there's an elevator and it's like full of blood and everything, and it's slowly filling up to where they almost drown in it until the elevator stops and lets them out. You've probably seen this shot in the trailer already if you watch trailers, because I know some people like to avoid them due to spoilers and whatnot, knowing too much of the movie, etc. But as that goes down, that was insane. And I actually heard from an interview with two of the lead stars in here, Alyssa Sutherland and Lily Sullivan, who we will get into in just a bit, we're talking about how they used over 70 gallons. 70 gallons of fake blood, man. 70 gallons. You can fill up a lot more glasses than 70 with that shit. Holy shit, man, that's crazy. It's crazy because Lily Sullivan also got an ear infection from having all that fake blood get into her ear and whatnot. So it's pretty intense making horror films, y'all. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Academy nerd recognized out there. Hashtag Oscars are dumb when it comes to horror. But anyway, moving on there. When it comes to the gore and the effects as well, super well done. All mostly or not all, but mostly practical effects, which I definitely appreciate as a horror fan in the modern day and age, because they rely way too heavily on CGI in all genres, and sometimes it is so unnecessary for horror. Because when it comes to horror, I want as little CGI, if any at all, because it definitely takes me out of the movie when it's very obvious and not well done. They do use CGI in this film, and there are moments I'm pretty sure I'm not picking up on it, but overall, they don't overuse it. Most of the effects, and I would say pretty much all the kills and the main like gore gags that you're there to see as a horror fan, they deliver, and it's 90% practical, if not completely. 90% of the time, like for sure, man. Like, so I absolutely love that element, and it just felt like an old school horror movie as well, the way that Lee Cronin was able to craft the film around actual atmosphere, actual tension, actual good acting and good characters as well. And just the way he would just build out these set pieces was just so well done. There was very few jump scares in here, and he didn't rely on that aspect, which I definitely appreciated. He didn't overuse the Raimi technique, which I also appreciated, like the zooming camera once you do the whole chant from the Necronomicon, and the way that they were able to just bring the Necronomicon back into action and almost keep it exactly the way it was before. But I don't even think there's too much difference to it, but it just fit right in. It was awesome. And the way that the spirit was summoned, while I do have some issues with one aspect of it, I do enjoy the fact that it was over a vinyl record, and it was from two different records and two different parts, right? And it was all because he was playing it backwards on the turntable that he has, because the character, what's his name? Danny, there you go. The character Danny, played by Morgan Davies, one of the only males in the film, actually, or the only male of the family, I meant to say, in the film. And he's actually like a DJ and likes to like make beats and do different remixes and DJ and everything like that. So he was working on some stuff earlier, and he sets it up on his turntable, and it's so dope the way that they're able to conjure the spirit that way through the speakers and all that stuff. Really, really love that. And when it comes to the sound as well, I want to highlight this sound design. Fucking phenomenal. So fucking awesome. Y'all know I'm an audio nerd, and if you don't know that I'm an audio nerd, now you know. I do all the engineering and all the audio aspects to the channel pretty much entirely by myself. So I'm all into the space of audio production and all that stuff. So that's always going to be an appealing fact to me in any genre of film, but especially in horror, because the sound design is what creates the fear. It's what creates the lifeblood of the film. It's what brings everything to life. So that sound design element is always important in all film. But it was just so well done here, man. And even the score as well, really dope. Really loved all the stuff that they were doing here in that aspect, and just the production overall. And getting it to the actors and characters, the main two, I would say, antagonists and protagonists here. Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, who's the mom that gets possessed by the Deadites themselves, and y'all would know that from the trailer and all that. It's a spoiler review, so don't want to hear anything, y'all. Let's keep it, civil and all that. But Alyssa Sutherland's character is up in this thing as the mom, Ellie, and it is so terrifying watching her go after her children and actually try to kill them for real, and try to manipulate them and play on their emotions and trick them, and just use anything they can get their hands on, and anything's a weapon, and it can either hurt or go against or hurt them or hurt you, or she'll use it to hurt them. And it is intense, like the whole needle to the eye that ends up getting dragged into the sister's cheek. Gabrielle Eccles' character of Bridget, the oldest daughter, and man, it is intense. And let's not forget about Beth, played by Lily Sullivan, our new kind of final girl in this aspect, if you will. And she definitely kicked a lot of ass in the movie, just from an acting standpoint, and from both the earlier part of the film where she's just a cool aunt, over to, the back half of the film where she has to get into, badass mode and end up taking on the evil. And you fully buy into that. You fully buy that she would be able to do that and pull it off. And I just thought Lily Sullivan's performance was really awesome. And I was definitely getting some like Sigourney Weaver, like Newt vibes from this thing with between her and the youngest sister, Nell Fisher, Nell Fisher's character of Cassie. And that child actress did a great job as well. She was very, very competent in the film, wasn't annoying at all, and would definitely fit right in and had chemistry with everyone on screen. So I thought she did a great job. And all around, man, just everybody killed it in this movie when it came to the acting. And that was next level for me right there, to where it kind of knocked it up a notch from where it just could have been if we had lesser actors. Because it just would have been a pretty cool movie, but it would have been a little more of a splatterfest and not as engaging. I wouldn't have been as invested, So I think they did a great job in that department as well. Getting into some of my mixed elements, I would say, would be the fact that they found it because of an earthquake, and the brother had to go and find the Necronomicon by jumping into like this big hole in the ground that leads to a safe, because there was like a bank there in the parking structure to their building that was there before, that they built on top of, I guess. And then they ended up finding it in some weird crypt thing down there. And the whole aspect of him having to climb and go that far and go through all this weird shit to get to the book and to take it with the way that it looks, I'm like, bro, no fucking way. Stoops. It's the same old dumb white people in horror movies trope. No offense to anybody out there, but y'all know what I'm saying, because it's a trope, man. I'm telling you now. It ain't me that's making this up. I ain't the one writing it in these movies. It's a trope. Trust me, if you pay attention, you'll notice if you haven't already. But I'm not a big fan of that trope, regardless of race at all, because it's just dumb. I hate when people have to go out of their way to do dumb shit in order to find the evil or conjure up the evil or whatever. In the other movies, I feel like they did a better job of getting us to that aspect, but how they summoned the Deadites was cool. So it's a little bit of more of a mixed element than just a straight up negative for me overall. And the character of Danny, it was kind of frustrating for me too. The way he's holding back that he's the one that did it and all this stuff. I get it's hard to say, but at least tell somebody that you think you might have did something weird or something might be going on. And you're like, oh shit, I think I know what's going down. So that way they can kind of prepare themselves and get more adjusted to the situation, especially his older sister, Bridget. It's like, come on, bro. Step up. You got a younger sister to protect. You got a family to look after, to be the man of the house, essentially, because their dad left. Like, come on, man. Step up and don't be a dumbass. So that was one negative element for me as well. But I don't really have many negatives other than that, man. This film was so well paced, so well put together and crafted. I had such a fucking blast with this movie, especially the third act where they really introduced a couple new elements, like the whole thing of the Deadites crawling into one body with all the various limbs and stuff and the heads. So imaginative and so well done. It's like some weird-ass Resident Evil shit come to life, but just done so well. I absolutely dug it, and the film itself is so awesome. I can't wait to see what Lee Cronin does in the future. And having Sam Raimi and the great Bruce Campbell themselves all join in as executive producers and have a hand in this thing, I think really worked in its favor. Love this film. Absolutely dug the hell out of it. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5 out of 10. Love the movie. I recommend all y'all out there go see it, especially my horror fans. But if you don't handle gore or intense stuff like that very well, or intense violence, or I would say danger happening to kids without spoiling every single aspect of the film, so you guys can go in and enjoy it a little bit, you know what I mean? Be prepared and warned for that. But if you dig horror, especially for all my horror fans, if you love the Evil Dead franchise, if you want something that's going to shock you and be a good time, and you want to have some Evil 2 vibes up in there and a modern Evil Dead installment, while keeping a little bit of that intensity of the Fede Alvarez 2013 remake and blending that together for the perfect installment of the Evil Dead franchise, you found it right here, folks. Thanks for checking out this review and everything like that. We appreciate each and every one of you listeners/watchers. We're going to be updating all of our podcast feed with all of our latest and greatest stuff. Fell a little behind on that. I apologize, but we will be getting that up to y'all. And make sure you stay tuned. We got some cool niche content and some fun stuff down the line coming up here real soon between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and plenty of other dopeness to come. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't sleep. We'll catch you again real soon. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Much love. Peace.